Everybody, I thought I would create a quick video to give you a little bit more instruction on illustration and paragraphs. So in your lab discussions for the week, your second discussion was to take this paragraph, and of course I just blew the font up so you could kind of see what I'm doing here, and to make it more of an illustration paragraph. And so let's go over it one more time, and then let's take the basics of what we have, and then let's apply these ideas of good paragraphing to it, and we can make this a good paragraph. So remember the rules for illustration. What you want to do is you want to start off with a clear topic sentence, because remember the topic sentence guides the readers, right? It tells the readers what they're going to encounter in the rest of the paragraph. Then you have general data or details. Because in an illustration, if you think of the word to illustrate, it just means to show. So the definition of illustrate, it's just, illustrate is just a synonym for to show, right? So that's actually something important and to think about, to not be overly concerned about the idea of drawing, but instead in writing this idea of showing. So you start off with a clear topic sentence, provide general data and details, and then at the very end, move to one specific example detail. Okay, so general to specific with a clear guiding topic sentence, and that's all you need. And in this example, you don't need a concluding sentence. That's just not necessary. And one of the ways you can think about illustration paragraphs is the setup of, it's almost like a list in some ways. If you go back to the reading from last week, or this week, last week, and you see the glacier examples, or if you look at the mice example, the biology example, where it talks about the aberrant behaviors, then you can see that there's just a list of different behaviors. And so the first thing we probably want to do here, and take a look after you review this, look at the example you made and then do a comparison. Okay, in the program, I'm going to take a lot of classes. In what program? So another rule or way that you can think about this is you start off with a topic sentence that guides the readers as if the paragraph was standalone. That is something I'm going to talk about a lot between Essays 2 and Essay 3. A standalone paragraph means if I take this paragraph outside of the entire essay that I would be writing if I was a student doing this paper, then it makes sense. But it doesn't make sense right now because we don't know what program, right? In the English teacher training program, and it's a longer prepositional phrase, so I'm just going to add a comma there. I'm going to be taking a lot of classes. Well, you're going to take a lot of classes in every program, so let's do a clear topic sentence that focus on English literature and writing. Now we've got a specific guiding topic sentence. I'm just going to highlight this in yellow. I'm going to highlight this in yellow so we do some matching. So now you can see how we've gone from draft 1, maybe the earlier one was a pretty good draft, I would say, to a draft 2 with a much more specific guiding topic sentence. The courses in my major maybe begin with, English 111, English 112, and I would probably in this section say, well, what are 111 and 112? Not all readers would know that. So we could do this. College Composition 1, College Composition 2, a 200 level literature, and even a speech communications class. That's kind of interesting to note because if you're going to be teaching, you're probably going to be speaking a lot, right? So that is some interesting initial general data because we're not talking about the specifics in each class. We're just listing some of the courses. A 200 level literature is in a specific class, so that's okay. I don't have to provide a specific class here like I did when I named specific classes here. So where did this information come from? Remember, don't forget to name your sources. This is a little bit different than those examples that I showed you because those examples didn't say that this is specifically in an academic essay, but this would be in an academic essay. So we could say something like this. According to NOVA's advising sheet, and then we would probably say the liberal arts English specialization, and let me work on my spelling there, advising sheet. So now I'm growing this illustration and I'm folding in appropriate sources as we go according to this source. And if you don't want to say that there, you could take that out and then you could just put it in at the end of the sentence. I mean, it's an either or proposition. Whether you name your in-text citation at the beginning of the borrowing or at the end is fine. At the end, we could say something like this. Nova, who is the author, and then the title, because remember, we're borrowing multiple sources from Nova, so we want to distinguish in the paragraphs. Well, which source? No, and then this would be AA. So here's that in-text citation. This is in MLA style, and APA style would be something like that. Just adding that copyright year. For those of you that are depending on what style you're choosing, we'll work on that. But what I've done was I've named my sources. I've already enhanced the topic sentence, and the class that most interests me in this major is English 256, Literature of Science Fiction. And I would say which would satisfy my 200 level literature requirement. And I've just named a class. I haven't talked about anything specific. It looks like we could tie these guys together by saying according to nah. You know, sometimes when you start to write something, it works and it doesn't. Maybe we'll put it at the end of the sentence. This would fit nicely into my program according to that advising sheet. So I'm giving a nod. What we do is you don't have to name the advising sheet. If I could spell right. Advising. There we go. So the way that I'm enhancing this paragraph is I don't have to do a parenthetical, you know, like in parentheses and text citation in every sentence, but I'm doing little nods to it here and there, right? You don't have to do it in full like this in every sentence, but you want to make it obvious where you're borrowing. And then when you switch to a different document, then you can say according to, and you can do it that way to show a quick switch as well. So we have some general information. We're moving on to a specific class and more specific information. So there's a lot of details provided in that second sentence. I'm spending most of my time actually on one specific detail, and that would be this class. That's where the interesting analysis can really kind of sink in, right? Which would satisfy my 200 level literature requirement. This would fit nicely into my program according to that advising sheet. In this class, the course content summary, which would be another document. So if we have a works cited here, say I'm doing MLA, one of my first ones is going to be the advising sheet, and my next source is going to be the course content summary for 256. So now I've got two sources. And note, you don't number your works cited entries, but for now I'm just keeping track of everything that I'm doing, and I'll be able to build those as well. But you can see where it says, in this class, the course content summary says that it reviews a lot of the major genres of this type of literature, and instead of saying that, I would say this, including the ages of fiction and hard and soft science fiction. This is not quoted because I put it in my own words. Okay, so just to show you, I'm on the page where they list all of the course content summaries for English, and I'm going to click on it. And the document that I'm talking about is this one right here. So when they talk about the different genres, It says examines the literary and social aspects of science fiction. That's the course description. And then let's see if we find the word genres on here. No, so that you can tell that the paraphrasing worked because I'm using different phrases to talk about different concepts. Okay, so definitions, early science, magazine science, the ages, hard and soft science, science fiction, story, and presentation. But you can tell in the document that I said the major genres, including the ages and hard and soft science. So I didn't talk about everything. Because remember, even when you paraphrase, you shrink what you're talking about into about a sentence or two to put it in your own words. And one of the main reasons to paraphrase is to show your own mastery of content, right? Then I decided to contextualize. This course would give me a good understanding of genre and writing styles that I would get more exposure to when I get to Mason, and eventually this will help me when I have to teach different types of literature. So you'll notice that the baseline paragraph I gave you, I actually thought was pretty good. But the way that I have worked on this is to show you how it changes and how you can modify your own paragraphs, but just to sort of give you practice with this one. So you can see with some color coding what's happening here. And let me actually just make this one maybe gray. Okay, you can see that the balance of this is sort of in the specific details, but there's still a nice setup. For your plan paper, you do not have to write in every single class you're taking. You could see that in this example, I've only included like 3 or 4, and I highlighted one in specifics. And I've taken my time, I've summarized, and I've added a little bit of analysis. Analysis is, so what does this mean for? How do you think this would affect a student like me? And if you go back to the student sample papers and you see Miriam's paper, she does a beautiful job of saying, here are the classes I'm going to take, and here's why I think this would help me in my major. Okay, we are starting to collect information for our sources, and we can build in class a works cited page on Tuesday. But just remember, if you name 2 sources, I named a source here, and maybe we would change this and say Nova's course content summary for English 256. And so we can be a little bit more specific. So there's the name of a source there as well. So this is how I would enhance this paragraph. Now, what I want you to do is compare it to what you've done, and then go back to some of the beginning writing that you've worked on, hopefully for your plan paper, and see if you can take 1 or 2 of your body paragraphs and you can fashion a body paragraph that has a really clear topic sentence that is specific and guides the reader, has some listing, some general details that show what's included, and then goes into depth with a class that interests you, or a class that you're afraid of, or a class that looks particularly technical, and then show us why. Whatever you want to focus on will make this plan personal. Remember, we're taking a process that's usually list-oriented, and we're making it prose. We're making it paragraphs of writing. It's a process. We have a couple weeks to work on it. I hope this video helps you. And we'll talk about this, of course, in class on Tuesday. See you soon.